And so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. We all need to start really thinking consciously, and we need to be aware of what's happening in our world. And there's a lot of things that are happening right now that are different. We're not used to these things. And some of them will be good and some of them are not so good. And some of them make us uncomfortable, and they make us uncomfortable for a reason. And I want us to all be open in this conversation. I'm coming into this conversation with love, with understanding, with respect, and everything else that goes along with. We all are different in our belief systems, etc. But one of the things that I want to really tie up today is, do you have your truth and I have my truth? And this is where so intentionally we said your truth. And so as I go through this, I think you're going to start tying in. So please do this for me. If you're seeking the truth, if you're really seeking wisdom and you want to move forward in life as a better leader, as a better parent, as a better spouse, etc., then we have a responsibility to not just be thrown around by what's coming out in telling us how we're supposed to think. I mean, this has really gotten kind of out of hand. So in a loving way, if you will, you hang out and let me go ahead and we'll have a conversation. And if you've got questions, please bring them in. But I want to first.
And before you go, Dr. Webb, just want to remind everybody, this happens every Friday at 12:30 on Dr. Webb's page, going live. We're going to have doctors, we're going to have guests, great conversation. Again, all with the intention of being intentional and being awake.
We want to bring consciousness. And I had a great guest last time, George Araujo. He was a scientist, is a scientist, but used to work with Burke. And we dug in and we talked a lot about COVID, and we talked about the vaccination, and we allowed you to do the research, and we left you something to consider. We left you with something to go in and dive and come to your own conclusions. And so that's what we're trying to do here. Yeah. So I want to give you a couple of definitions. Number one, I believe there is a belief, and then there is an absolute truth. And so I'm going to give you a couple of definitions on truth. The Cambridge Dictionary states this: a fact or principle that is thought to be true by most people. I read that and I was like, really? A thought to be true by most people. So if most people believe it, therefore
we agree,
it must be the truth. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
sounds
a little
subjective.
Well, it's like, let me. I'm gonna go ahead here for a second. I'm jump out ahead for a second because I want to talk about some other people in history and some of their thoughts. So here's something that someone said: if I tell you a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, it will be believed by the masses. Therefore, if the masses believe it, it becomes the
truth.
The truth. I'll tell you who said that. That was Hitler. All right. And so we'll come back to that later. But a fact or principle that is thought to be true by most people doesn't make it true. It could make it the common belief. Okay. So I'm going to give you another definition, and you guys, to help me out, if you believe this maybe fits better. Absolute standard in which we measure reality, characterized by both qualitative and quantitative aspects. Now, to me, that, which came from the Bible dictionary, for me, that to me seems to be, okay, there's a standard, there's an absolute standard.
There's data.
And we have qualitative and quantitative aspects. So as we move forward, I think we can all agree that just because someone believes something doesn't make it the truth. I have beliefs, you have beliefs, and I respect yours. I know you respect mine, but some of mine, I can't prove that are the truth. But there are some things that we do identify as truth. And so
when we were kind of prepping for this, Dr. Webb, as you were kind of giving me your thoughts and your idea for today's show, there was a clear distinction that when we're talking about the truth, we're talking about things that are laws.
There's laws. And so there's certain things we can identify by qualitative and quantitative aspects. And guys, things like, let me give you a couple. Number one, what truth is not. Truth is not emotions or feelings. It just doesn't have anything to do with it. That's not qualitative or quantitative. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. So it's a belief, right? If I have feelings on something or emotions about something, and I believe that to be true, well, it's a belief, but it doesn't fit the definition of an absolute truth. So here's some things that do. Newton's first law of motion, when an object is moving in a straight line, it'll continue to move in that straight line unless there's something coming against it, right? That's the simplicity of it. And we're looking at that law of motion, of inertia, that pans out more when we don't have gravity, right? But it still pans out here. It's just kind of slow because it has something moving against it, right? We have this resistance here on Earth called gravity that's going to resist and come against it. Newton's law of gravity, which we just talked about. So think about this. I believe the law of gravity be true because of qualitative and quantitative. And in my life, I've seen it.
You've seen evidence.
I can measure, right? Yeah. If I drop an apple off the building, pretty sure I know where it's going to go. Now, as you said, there's a lot of this truth, and there's a reason why we have truth, because it allows us to live in accordance with laws. And that allows non-chaos, allows us to not get hurt, allows us to be able to go, oh, this will allow for a good life. Maybe there's no problems. For example, I don't believe your truth of gravity. It's not my truth. Jump off the building. and so it can be measured, right? You're going to have there's a consequence in violating the truth or just testing it. If I test the fire, I could get burnt. So no matter how much I believe there's no such thing as gravity, it's an absolute truth. And as long as I'm here on this earth,
I think what you're saying, Dr. Webb, is that you don't have to accept it if you don't want to. Some people don't want to accept that, and that's fine.
That's fine.
It doesn't stop being the truth.
That's right.
Right. That's what I'm hearing.
That's right. So we have certain aspects that we can go, okay, first law of thermodynamics, if you add heat to a system, you're going to actually either add energy or there's going to be work that comes out of that, or a mixture of a combination of both. It's not been disproven so far with science. Now, there are some, what we considered these laws are truths that in time have changed. So for example, I grew up with an understanding in science that molecular atom was the truth. The molecular atom, the one that you always see with the nucleus, and the electrons,
and the neutrons.
Well, science tells us today that's not the way the atom's made up, and it's a quantum atom. So it's different than what we thought because we couldn't see it. So now the atomic atom, the quantum atom is what we now have a belief that's the truth, right?
Well, technology has allowed us to be able to see more into it.
Yeah, but it changes. Could that change in the future? Could, but generally speaking, it's qualitative and quantitative aspects that science has come to this point of saying that's what it is. Recognizing that with knowledge and wisdom and technology, we may adapt something different when that comes to us.
Got it.
Right.
And Dr. Webb, this is finding the courage to speak your truth. And I believe that's something that you have done really, really well, particularly.
But again, here's we said again, to speak your truth. Again, that was to get you guys here, to speak your beliefs, right? And to seek the truth. So having the courage that I find, for example, when I got into practice, I practiced in a way that was more of the traditional in the past. And I got to the point that I said, I don't believe this is best suited for helping people in their health. I don't believe this is the best model. And so I call it, I pushed back on the system, right? I rocked the boat.
You had the courage to do that.
Yeah, because I had a belief that this would, now, is it the truth? Don't know. And I'm not claiming it to be.
Got it. That's a huge distinction.
But from my analysis, I came to the point of it's better to empower people and teach them to be healthy, because my belief was you're created incredibly, whether you believe in an architect or you believe in evolution, you can't deny that the human body is a miracle and has the capacity to heal and change. It's fascinating. You cut yourself, and just like you watch these movies
Oh, like superhero movies. and
superhero
stuff,
movies.
yeah.
What's the wolf guy? What's his?
Oh, Wolverine.
Wolverine.
He regenerates.
So we go, oh my God, look how fast he's generating.
But we do that.
We do that,
We
just
do that.
slower, and not
Exactly.
right to the dip. So to me, it's just amazing. And so I'm going to stand up to what I have found to be the better model. Now, I also believe that the body heals itself. And to me, it's truth because of qualitative and quantum analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you tell me, well, it really doesn't do that, that's fine. That's your belief, right? And we have this tendency today to think that we must take everyone's beliefs and we must accept them,
Right. Or adopt them.
Right. So if I say, I know this sounds, for most of you, I believe who's watching, most of you believe that the earth is a sphere.
Yep.
I do
too.
And it's been, I don't know, my son came to me a couple of years ago. He had this project and they were supposed to, it was like on conspiracy theory kind of stuff. So one of them was on aliens and whatever, 55 and Area 55.
Area 51.
Area 51. Yeah, and then he did one and he said, you know, Dad, I'm going to do the flat earth. I go, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, there's people that believe it's a flat earth. And I was like, what? Still? Yeah. But now here's the deal. They have, wherever they're getting their knowledge, wherever they're diving in to get this, maybe that's the conclusion they come up with. Okay, I don't believe that. And looking out into space and science, we've never found a flat earth. Now, I'm not an astronaut, so I can't come back and look at this sphere.
Right.
But I'm pretty solid, right? And from what science has shown us, it's a sphere, right? So if you go into a schoolroom, what's the shape of the globe?
It's a round circle.
It's a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come into your classroom today, this is what's happening today, and I say, Professor Webb, yes, Jacob, why don't you have a flat globe in here? Well, Jacob, what do you mean? Well, sir, the earth is really flat. I can say, well, are you sure? Yeah, that's my truth. You have your truth, Professor Webb, that it's a sphere, but I have my truth and it's flat. Okay, well, Jacob, I respect your belief.
There you go.
Right? I respect your belief. And if you want to hold on to that belief, then you hold on. I'm going to suggest you continue to seek. I'm going to suggest you continue to research, and I'll be happy to research with you. But I'm going to keep a sphere in my classroom because this is what science has really shown us today. And I can't abut science that we have today. The science actually shows that it's not flat. So, well, you're phobic to flat earthers. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying, Jacob. Yeah, you're a bigot. You see where I'm going with this?
Oh, yeah.
I keep getting labeled because I'm not saying, Jacob, not only will I put a flat globe in, I will adapt. I will adopt your beliefs.
Right.
True. And this is what is happening today. And it's like, guys, we all have to get to a point of going, are you comfortable with that? It's okay, Jacob. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to label you. I'm not going to call you anything. I'm going to say you're welcome in my classroom. And if you want to hold on to that belief, that's totally your right. And I'll fight for that right for you. I'll fight for that right for you to believe what you choose to. I'm not going to interfere with your thoughts. I'm here as a professor. I'll try to guide you, but I'm not going to tell you that you can't think that way. And if you do, you're some kind of criminal.
And I think you're bringing an interesting point, Dr. Webb, because if I'm speaking to some of the viewers potentially are doctors, or they're considering, the model that you have founded, that are in fear of what maybe their colleagues might be thinking, or having to face their colleagues, and maybe they don't want to stand up like you did, right? But now you're drawing a distinction between respecting someone's belief and accepting someone's belief. So I think that makes it a little bit easier for that practitioner to want to stand up and have the courage.
My water went down. That is the truth. It went down. Excuse me.
Remember, what is this resonating? Is this resonating with you? Do you have any thoughts about this? What are your thoughts about truth? share them in the comments. We'll bring them in. We'll share some of the thoughts you're saying to Dr. Webb. But I think what you're saying, Dr. Webb, it just makes it a little bit easier for someone who wants to have that same courage that you showed for yourself, your family, and your business, and not only but the healthcare industry to do the same.
But we all have a responsibility to seek the truth. So here's another example. I have a belief that of where I came from. Okay, most people know my faith. I believe I was created, right? The God I believe in is Jehovah, Yahweh. That's my belief. Okay. And I've done a lot of research in my life to come to a point where I believe. It's not I feel. I believe that is true. I can't prove it. So it still really is a belief, right? It's not an absolute truth.
Right.
And some people believe in Allah. Some people believe in Buddha. Some people are atheists. Okay. They're all a belief, right? And in one aspect, they're all religions too.
Correct.
Right. And so if I say, I believe in this, well, what right do you think that that Jesus is the only way to heaven? And it's my belief.
It's your belief.
It's my belief. And everyone, and it's just like, if you are Islam, then you believe the only way to heaven is if Allah allows you. If you're atheist, you believe there isn't any way to heaven.
Right.
So I respect all of those views and those beliefs. I respect them all, especially when someone comes to me and says, this is what I dig in every day, and I research and I research. I have a lot of respect because they're seeking the truth, right? But it's still a belief, and it's like there is an absolute truth though of where we came from. And some people go, well, what do you mean? That you mean only one of us can be right? There's only one.
That's where they go.
But only one of us can be right. And so think about it this way. If I am a Christian and I believe the path is through Christ and you Islam, and it's Allah making a decision that says, I'll let you in. And then we have the atheist that says, no one's right. Okay. So that means that I got here through Jehovah. You got here and Allah, created through Allah. They got here through the dirt.
Nothing, right?
Okay. So, and then there's the person that believes we came here from aliens. Okay. So there's 4 views. If I ask anyone in the audience right now, can all 4 of those views exist? Are there some people on earth right now that came here from aliens, and some people that Jehovah created, some people that Allah created, and some people came here through evolution? Would you believe that right now there's people all from every one of those?
Every one of them, yeah.
Do you believe that those people exist here?
I believe those people exist today, yeah.
Oh, so you do?
No, I believe that there's people that believe those things.
No.
Oh.
But do you believe that some of the people living on earth today, some of them came from God, some of them were, and some of them honestly, were just delivered here?
I wouldn't even know how to even begin to answer that question.
That's interesting. So I believe that we all came from the same place. We just don't know what it is yet. And from what you're telling me, you think that maybe an alien delivered me, but you could have come from a God.
No, what I'm saying is that there's people here that do believe the different perspective.
No, but right. Can all of them exist?
There has to be a
there has to be
a source.
Okay, so there has to be
a source.
But is your source, can the absolute source, if we end up all finding out in the future that evolution was the truth,
right,
is also alien bringing me here the truth?
Then no.
Okay, so this is my point. We're on the same page. And see, this is how conversations. See, I've got to find out really what are you? Tell me. I want to make certain I understand you, right? So my point is, there's going to be a day where we'll find out. I think all of us can say that all human beings that are here today, no matter what your belief is, we will find out that we all came from the same place.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Right. Okay. So that means there's an absolute truth. Can I prove that I'm right? No.
Can I prove that I'm right?
No. So what I will do this, I love you. And no matter what your beliefs are on that subject, I have friends that are Islam. I have friends that are atheists, dear friends. I have friends that are Christians. I have friends I love, and they respect me for my beliefs and my study, and I respect them. So I will not call anyone. I will not label anyone something because they think
Differently.
than me.
Mhm.
There's a interesting book that I'm reading. I told Minnie to take a picture of it, and maybe she sent this to me. So, um, in the book, I meant to bring it, and I forgot, guys. The book is called 1984 by George Orwell. Now, those of you my age, maybe many of you read this book, and I'm rereading it because of the stuff we see in the world today. And we're seeing a complete twist of words. And in 1984, everything got flipped and all history got erased. They didn't want anyone to know about history. Well, what have we seen over the last year? Erasing history. Let me read before I go into this book anymore.
Maybe we can get Kristen to put a link.
Let me read something else here. I use emotion for the many and reserve reason for the few. I use emotion for the many and use reason for the few. Who said that? Hitler. So I'm going to use emotion to get you guys where I want you to go. Right? So it just keeps going. And all of this we find in this book. It's really interesting. War is peace. Well, that's a flip. Right? Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. So in 1984, what happened is the same path that we kind of see things now, and they had what was called the thought police, which means if I start thinking different than Big Brother, right, then they can find out because I was being monitored. They had these monitors all over the place. Well, we have monitors all over the place. This is here, sees it might right. So
you say something.
So what's happening is we're telling people, no, if you think that way, you're a what, right? If you think as if someone doesn't agree with my religious beliefs, oh well, you're a Christian phobe. No, you're not.
Yeah, now it becomes an insult.
What happens is instead of me saying, let's debate, let's have a conversation and share, I have fear that you don't believe me. There's fear. So I want to censor and I want to label you and I want to step away.
So then what does that say about your truth, right? If you have fear behind it,
then there's insecurity and there's fear.
And right? It may not be.
So that's why when we see censorship happening the way it is today, what are you afraid of? So here's a quote. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Who said that?
Is that Hitler again?
No, think about it. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Martin Luther King said that.
Yeah.
Meaning, guys, think for yourself. Do not be a slave of the thought police. Do not be a slave.
So then ignorance is not bliss? From that,
do not. He's telling us, do not ever think war means peace. Don't think that freedom means slavery. Don't think that ignorance means bliss. Right? So if we are not careful, our colleges will produce a group of closed-minded, unscientific, illogical propagandists consumed with immoral acts. Martin Luther King. So what he said back then, do we see this today?
I'm seeing it today.
Yeah, because if you go into a classroom today, you can't think certain ways, right? A professor is supposed to educate and mentor and help people seek the truth and knowledge rather than censoring. You can't go against what the professor says. And so I want to touch on something a little bit more touchy. And the reason I'm bringing it up because it's close to my heart. And I have a daughter, and I have granddaughters, and there's a lot of women watching right now that have fought for decades for women's rights. And I'll fight for those rights. I want my daughter, I want my granddaughters to have an equal opportunity in this life, because we all should have an equal opportunity. Every human being in the world should have an equal opportunity. But because of some of the things we're seeing and this manipulation of truth, it's being pushed at us as it's the emotional right thing to do. And that's a very, very dangerous thing. This is exactly what Hitler taught. And there's an article or a title. It's a law that was made in 1971. It's called Title IX. And I think I might have wrote it down in one. No institution of higher education can discriminate against anybody on the basis of their sex or gender. Pretty good law.
Mm-hmm.
It initially was drafted to ensure equal opportunities for women in sports. That was its purpose. So that's a good thing. That means that I'm a woman, and at one time, women that wanted to play baseball, you're not gonna play baseball. I mean, women had to fight for the rights
Mm-hmm.
to be able to participate in the same kind of sports that guys do.
Anybody else,
And
yeah.
they even got women football now. They got women wrestling. They got women tennis. They got women are athletes, and women have capabilities to compete
Mm-hmm.
and compete best among themselves. And that's why there is a division. That's why you don't see the reason you don't see men wrestlers and women wrestlers, because you don't have to be a science to recognize that, generally speaking, men are physically
That's
different.
a physiological difference,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, someone told me, I haven't looked this up, but someone told me yesterday that the top 300 high school boys track, the
Mhm.
top 300 can run faster than the fastest woman in the world. That's because we're made different,
Yeah.
right? There's differences in
Differences.
our chromosome makeup. There's difference in
Mhm.
our hormones. There's different. We are different. Our reproductive organs, they're different. And this is science. This is going back to absolute standard in which we measure reality, characterized by both qualitative and quantitative aspects. It is not reliant on emotion. Well, what just got signed immediately right after the new administration entered Washington, it was just signed within a few days, that any man that identifies, feels emotions, feels like a woman, fits into Title IX. So let me tell you what that means. My granddaughters are now going to be competing against men. And if you've got a daughter now that's looking to get a scholarship in sports, tennis, wrestling, whatever it might be, where's the fairness? Where's women's rights that just by the stroke of the pen basically said, screw women's rights. Men now can compete. So there's a physical challenge here that also can impact that person's ability to get into the school that they want, this woman to get into the school they want, to when parents might not be able to afford that college, and now it gets taken away because of a very unfair situation. Now, emotionally speaking, the same man that identifies themselves, again, it's not a truth,
Right.
It's a belief, and it's good. If you want to identify as a woman, knock yourself out. That's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not going to judge you, but please don't say, all of you in the school system, you must believe that as well, because now this man gets to go into the locker rooms, the bathrooms, to shower, to change. And we know from past experience already, as a woman, you have to go on with your duties too. And if you disrespect that, you can be asked to leave the school.
Yeah.
Right? Because, well, that was discrimination.
Yeah, you're violating someone's rights.
You're because he's really woman. No, he's not. He's not. Any more than I can say, that's a mare and that's a stallion. They're going to breed and they can have a colt. Well, no, that stallion is a mare. It's not.
Right.
And we're being told by people like Hitler that says, if I tell you big enough lie and tell it frequent enough, it will be believed. So to get in this, what I'm saying is, we have to look at things and respect people for their beliefs. And everyone has a right, and I'll fight for their right. If a man feels like a woman, he has a right. If he believes he has a right.
But we don't have to everybody adopt
but
it,
your
right?
belief doesn't change the law, and it doesn't change the adaptation process of the world as a whole.
Yeah.
So we can support this person, but I don't want you walking into my daughter's bathroom, my granddaughter's. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. Yeah. Because a lot of people will be emotionally traumatized. What happens to those people? If the masses, it doesn't fit, we're only looking at this part now. Well, that's this whole thing of changing the way people think and moving into 1984. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it because you kind of start seeing, oh my God, we're going down this road. And it's to the point where in the chapter I'm at now, he made a statement about, I just wish I had the right to say that 2 + 2 = 4 because they took that away.
Dr.
And
Webb, we
they
have some comments.
Yeah, I love them. You love them. Yeah.
Couple comments. Let's go. Greg Fryer. Our thoughts and beliefs are free and represent our individual viewpoints. However, they are limited by our minds.
That's a good point.
Dr. Jillian Finker. This is a great conversation. All human beings will find out that we are all coming from the same place.
Yes.
Yep.
Camille Kuntz. More important than the beliefs we hold are the ways we behave and treat each other.
Very true.
So I'm pausing on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
More important than the beliefs are the way we behave. And guess what? Behavior comes from those, right? If I say that I love my wife, is that the truth?
Yeah.
Well, how do you know?
You have to show it.
Do you show
You
it?
have to be a
Okay, so
behavior.
my actions will come. I believe
your
in
beliefs.
love, and I believe I cherish her, and I do. These are my beliefs. My actions will follow that. These are great
And
comments.
Dr. Webb, you're actually doing that because you have beliefs that say, I can respect the differences here, but I'm going to accept you and respect that. You're doing that
Well,
right now.
trust me,
Yeah.
everyone that works in this company, we don't all have the same beliefs. Not everyone follows the same beliefs that I do. And you know what? We all really enjoy conversation and
Mhm.
debate. And man, when someone comes in my office and they truly want to learn and I can learn from them, you know, someone that was really special in my life once, he was I don't know if he was an atheist, but he was definitely agnostic
Mhm.
and even our conservative liberal beliefs and all this. And we became really, really close friends. And here's why. He respected and listened to me. And I was like, man, that's really something. You believe so much different than I do, yet you're really listening to me. And I said, I want to listen to you. And so we would come together and do mind stuff because I would always pull stuff. Okay, I get why you think that way.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh, and you know what, Dr. Webb? You can learn from so many people
Everyone.
if you open up just a little bit.
Yep, I know.
Because that's why I listen to you. You have so much wisdom to impart. And I'm like, man, I can learn from
And
what
vice
this guy's
versa.
saying. You know what I mean?
We all learn.
Yeah, totally.
You got another one, Nick?
Greg Fryer mentioned again, I believe the book, I'm assuming he refers to the Bible, it's just people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
They are. And it's a biblical
Yeah.
quote. And it's a sad thing because like right now, if you go back to Wake Up with Webb last week and you watch the piece I had with George Arugio, we talk about COVID and we talk about the vaccine. And what I'm telling you guys is lack of knowledge can hurt some people. I'm not telling you whether to take it or not. What I'm telling you is should you seek out more knowledge on this? This is something that could affect the rest of your life. If you come to the conclusion, I've dug into it, Charlie, and I know what my risks are, and I know what my risks are over here, and I feel more comfortable, my family and I taking it. I respect that. You did your homework. Some people will say, I did my homework and I've changed my mind now. Okay, I'm glad that you did your homework. I know how we feel about it,
Mhm.
but we're bringing this out because of lack of knowledge is good. There's consequences because lack of knowledge means we're unaware of the laws. We're unaware of how to be governed. And
Yeah, and instead of being threatened by it, go find out.
go find out.
Go find out.
Go find out and seek and seek and seek. Then when you make a decision, no matter how it comes out, at least you can say, you know, at least I wasn't a fool. Maybe the decision, I wish I would have made a different decision, but I'm okay with myself because I did seek. I did my homework and didn't just do something.
So, Dr. Webb, you know, again, this show is here to create consciousness, to have topics, to have debate, to increase awareness and live more consciously. Your truth has led you here.
My
right?
belief.
Your beliefs has led you here.
See. This is something we're falling in. Your truth. I don't have my truth.
Well, your beliefs.
Yeah, but I want to make this. I don't have my truths and you have your truths. It doesn't exist.
Got it.
I have my beliefs. You have your beliefs. But there are truths. Now, there are certain things that I feel are the truth. I believe. Let me get away from the evil.
Mhm.
That's
believe.
I believe that I was created. I do. Okay. But that I cannot prove as an absolute truth. And there's a
Got it.
reason for that. It's called you need to have faith.
But I also can see, Dr. Webb, that your beliefs have allowed you to lead a life of significance,
Yes.
of peace, of growth, of success, of impacting other lives. You lead a life that's
Well, I think what you come to with your research and the beliefs you come to, then stand for those,
yeah.
because that's going to lead you in a better place. Stand for what you believe in. If there's things that I stand for, right?
This is Megan. That's Megan.
Guys, anyway, someone sent over a picture. My name is Megan. I'm here for the girls' track meet. I guess this is
And
a
it's
joke.
like,
It's a joke.
But again, guys, this is a serious situation, and it breaks my heart because
Gene Clark gets it.
because people will get hurt by lack of knowledge, and
Mhm.
God makes this very clear to us that my people, they will go astray, they will get hurt, they will not know my laws, and these laws of governing start with ourself and then start with our family. And this is the way that if we all do that and we hold strong to them and we study and we do our research, then we can go out into our business. And if I'm doing this in my business and you're doing this and you're this, then our community, and it goes and goes, but it all starts with us as an individual. Are you dedicating time,
Mhm.
or are you just making decisions? And trust me, guys, I've made plenty of mistakes where I didn't do the research, and I've made plenty of mistakes where where something came to me and I went, oh geez, and I sent it to someone else only to find out, oh, why didn't I dig into that first? That wasn't true. I mean, I've
Mhm.
done it. So I'm not judging anyone here. I mess up all the time, guys. And those mess ups become less
Exactly.
because it's embarrassing, and you're and you're just like, what would you do that for? And so I'm very careful. I can get excited about things, but I'm very careful to say, well, hang on. There's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of things today that we're being censored, and this is a crime. Again, I'll fight for your rights to bring out your thoughts and your beliefs. And whenever we see something being censored, we need to question, well, hang on. They're saying it's being censored because it's harming people. Who's making the decision on that?
Mhm.
So if it's harming people, people will come to understand, no, that's wrong. I mean, pornography is not censored. That's okay. That's not harming people. But if I think differently than this group of people, well, then that's called fear. And they're trying to say, so anytime there's censorship, and I would ask you guys to fight against this and call Congress and say, stop. That First Amendment right is there for purpose. Now,
For a
if
reason.
if you're coming out and you're showing pornography, or you're showing bad stuff that's just wickedness, no,
Well, now
that's
you're harming
not.
people.
Now you're harming
Right.
people, and but a thought process. If someone is on there, I believe in God, and if someone's talking about atheism, they have 100% right. I'll battle myself. You have a right to talk about that. You have a right to talk about communism. You have a right to talk whatever. No censorship in that stuff. We have to come down to decisions, and once we hit censorship, for some people to go, okay, that's good, they're gone now. Okay, now it's your turn to be gone, because now here's this group over here. That's going to get split. Then that's going to get split. Pretty soon, we're in 1984. And
Jeez.
we're all told that war is peace, that freedom is slavery, and that ignorance is strength. And now you can't fight against Big Brother, and if you do, you get
get taken out.
extinguished.
Yep.
You get
So
vaporized is what they say.
So, Dr. Webb, if I'm watching this show today and I am in a place where I'm like, I want to have that courage to stand for my beliefs and find the truth, how do I do that? What can you leave me with?
Well, you've got to listen to your heart, and you have to say, if I'm going to make an impact in people's lives, I have to behave the way that I do out there. Here, I always have to be the same man, the same woman, the same leader. And if I believe in certain things and I'm going to govern my life, then I have to take that out there. Right. And if you don't, then it's like God says, don't be ashamed to share me. Don't be ashamed of the truth. Don't do that. And I'm not. Again, I don't offend anyone because I'm careful how I do it, but I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my wife. I'm not ashamed of you. I will support everyone. And when we don't do this because we're afraid that someone might think against us, now you're wrapped up in your ego and you're ashamed. And being ashamed is the lowest on the level that with shame is way down. When remember when we talk about the spectrum with love up here and shame here, that's on the lowest, which means that you can be conquered and manipulated, right? We don't want to be in that. So you have to walk with courage, move through fear, as long as you know that you're respecting all the way through. We're to love our enemies. We're to love those who don't think like us. We're supposed to pray for those people. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm told. That doesn't mean that I have to like them, but I'm supposed to pray for them and I'm supposed to love them because they're created equal. And there's some people that I don't like. And I'll tell you what, if they change their ways and they said, you know what, I've been doing some wrong things here, and give me a hug. We're good. We're cool. Right. I mean, because we're all messed up. We all have challenges. And until the day I'm out of here, I'm going to be trying to do better to correct.
Well, it sounds like to me, Dr. that you're being your own testimonial, and that's how you lead.
Try to do by your actions. You know, someone told me, one of my mentors told me that, you know, if you're trying to be a disciple and lead people, then the only Bible they may ever read is you, right? And so, you know, Christians have always gotten a bad rap in other religions too, and it's sometimes because of the behavior, and it's just like we're not supposed to judge an entire group of people by a few idiots, and we've always done. It's called racism. We're not supposed to do that, you know.
It's like the ones that bark the loudest, make the most noise.
I mean, you know, so if I can behave in a certain way to people, no matter what, well, I don't have Charlie's beliefs, but he's a good man and he's a leader and he loves people. Then some of those people are going to say, "No, I'm interested. Can you tell me more?" Right?
Yeah.
Then I'm interested. So we just lead with respect. Know when you've made mistakes. Apologize to people when you made mistakes. Trust me, I've made plenty. I've had to go back and say, you know, I didn't handle that situation right. I was kind of a jerk, and I apologize for that. And that, man, I can't live that way without doing that anymore. I can't have things having this on my heart. So, guys, I know that's a tough subject, and I really prayed about this, that I'd come in, and that I want there to be discernment and openness. And if you hung out with me, I respect you for that, and hopefully I delivered it in a very respectful manner, because that was my intention. So thank you for this. And if you like this message and you want to continue,
share it
on a deeper level like this, we can keep going, because there's a lot of things that are taboo today. And I'm sorry, we have to talk about these, and it's okay when we do it. I think we did a good job in this matter. So if there's some other topics that we know that are kind of tripping people up, I don't care what they are. If you send them, I'll open up. I can have a conversation with everyone and bring everyone in, say, guys, we're all in this together.
If you want to be a guest, or guest at Dr. Webb,
that'd be cool.
That'd be cool to know too. Like, send them our way, share this video, tag something that you can feel like you benefit from this information. And I really, really hope, like Dr. Webb said, that you gain some insight and some perspective of how you can sit across from someone that perhaps doesn't think like you, or maybe you don't agree, but you can still have a conversation. You can disagree. You can respect each other.
Again, I'm glad that there was some confusion.
I saw that. Yeah.
Because we got to say, we got to talk. And I got to say, oh, you do? Okay, let's discuss this. And I continued to challenge him in a nice way. Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. We only came to one place. Now, that's a conclusion. We might not have come to that conclusion. And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys for hanging in with us. See you next week.